Hi guys, welcome back to the Maverick Mindset channel. My name's Bruno and I'm on a mission to make success the new mediocrity. So in this week's video, I want to kick off a new mini-series that I think you guys will benefit from, where I review great books, give you guys a bit of an insight as to what the book is about and whether it's worth your time reading. My aim is to put these videos out every other Friday to give you guys enough time to check out the books that I'm recommending and come into the next video with the ability to pick up the next book if you want to do so. Before I do that, I think it's only logical that I teach you guys how to efficiently read a personal growth book. At this point you might be thinking, but Bruno, I already know how to read a personal growth book. It's just like any other book. You start on page 1 and you read all the way through to the end. But that's not really a very efficient way of reading it. It's quite time consuming and you'll actually waste a lot of your efforts in doing that. Now, there's a 5-step method which a lot of successful people use and I've adopted into my own life to be able to read those 52 books a year, if you've heard those statistics. And it just makes it so much quicker, and they can pull the valuable information out almost instantaneously, or at least very quickly. And hopefully you guys will be able to apply this to yourselves and find the same results. So it's a 5-step method, and I'm going to illustrate this on one of my all-time favorite books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, in this video, I'm not actually going to review the book. I'll make sure to do that in a later video, but I just want to use it to give you an indication as to how it works. The first step is to read the blurb. So the blurb of a book typically summarizes what it's going to be about. Now, it's normally written in 2 styles for personal growth books. So the first will be written by the author, where even if they use their name in the third person, they've just basically outlined what the book is about. They may even give you a bit of a history of the author and why they're credible. And the second method is to have it in a form of testimonials. So that's where the author has gotten other authors or influencers or even newspapers just to provide a little review of the book, again to kind of build that credibility and to entice you into reading the book. Step 2 is to read the contents page. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of skipping a contents page because if they read, as I described at the beginning of this video, from the first page to the end, they believe that they're just going to cover all those topics anyway and all those headlines and subheadlines. So it's pointless, right? Wrong. The author's actually gone through a lot of trouble to make sure that you've got that contents page, and they're actually helping you out. By reading the contents page, you'll save yourself a lot of time and effort, and you'll have a pretty good idea of what the book's going to be about without even having read a single page of it. So the idea is to read literally from the top, from chapter 1, get an idea of the kind of topics that the author covers, and the subheadlines maybe just give you a little indication or a little teaser as to what to expect from that chapter. And as I say, that gives you a really good picture or a really good foundation on which you can build your reading. Step 3 then is to skim over the whole book. Now, I don't mean skim read. So when I do this, I don't actually actively read any of the book. I literally just glance my eyes from page 1 all the way through to the end, every single page, just to see if there's anything that immediately grabs my attention. If there is, maybe I'll read the sentence again, just to see what's the value in this sentence. Sometimes the authors actually make your life a lot easier as well, and they'll put it in like a little box or it'll be bold, and those things immediately jump out at you. And that's quite good because if that's the valuable information they want you to get, then you can see it straight away. Again, within these first 3 steps, you haven't actually really begun the reading process, but you've got a really good idea of what to expect from this book. I urge you guys to follow this process with every book you think of getting, and even with books that maybe someone's gifted you or that you've bought on impulse, because if you do these first 3 steps, you'll know whether the book is going to be of value to you and whether it's going to give you the information that you kind of seek from it. And if the book that you've picked up doesn't tick those 3 boxes, doesn't provide that value within those first 3 steps, then put it down. You can either come back to it at a later stage, maybe when you're more ready for it, or you can just never read the book. It's entirely up to you. Now, the fourth step is where you kind of get into the actual reading of the book. And I apply this method to the preface, if there is one, to the introduction, and to the last chapter. And I'll read it in its entirety. The reason being is that normally in the introduction or the preface, the author is giving you maybe some sort of a background to themselves. Maybe they're giving a bit of a story as to how they started out. It kind of gives you a good feel for what their writing style is. And the last chapter will pretty much summarize what the book's covered, and it might just remind you of some of the key valuable points that the author wanted you to pick up. Once you've done that step, you can then move on to the next step, which is what you'll apply to all of the other chapters in the book. So that's where you get to a chapter and you'll read the introduction paragraph and then the last paragraph of the chapter with the same kind of process in mind. So the introduction will give you an idea of what that chapter is going to be about, why the author's included in the book, and maybe why it's important to you as well. And what you'll find is when you actually read the last paragraph of the chapter, the author covers a lot of the valuable tips in it. So it kind of saves you having to read the whole chapter, especially if it's maybe not one that's going to be super useful to you guys and super helpful. I just want to make sure you guys are clear. This isn't a process where you only read 2 chapters of a book and you literally skip the rest of it. The idea here is that you just skip the chapters that maybe aren't going to serve you guys as much. At the end of the day, we're on completely different journeys. We have different goals, and you and I may pick up the same book like this one, but we may be searching for different things from it, and we may find things that we weren't even searching that are completely different to each other. Our experiences are going to be obviously unique. If you guys have any suggestions for me, you can leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to check out the book that you've asked for and provide a little video with a review for it as well, just to see whether I thought it was valuable or not. As always, guys, if you've liked the content of today's video, if you found that I've provided you some value, then make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and follow me on my social media. And again, I'll leave the links in the description below, and join me on my mission to make success the new mediocrity.